Okay, this is going to be, this video is going to be all about Saturn retrograde and how it's going to affect all the signs. And I'm also going to pull a card for each sign, just to give you a little bit of, more information. But make sure that you look at your, sun, moon, rising, moon, and any other placement that you feel like is relevant in regards to this, because everything connects. So, Saturn retrograde dates, basically June 4th to October 22nd, 2022. Now that's what you will hear most astrologers say, to sum it up real fast. But there's a pre-shadow and a post-shadow with every retrograde, no matter how you look at it. Now the thing about the difference between, like, say, pre-shadow when it comes to Mercury retrograde and Saturn is that Mercury's orbit is so much faster around the sun, so it's going to be a much faster thing and it's more relevant as opposed to Saturn. Because if you look at Saturn, its orbit is very, very slow, and so even though it would basically be in pre-shadow, retrograde, or post-shadow most of the time. Very seldom is it just fully direct because of the long orbit or rotation. So Saturn enters pre-retrograde shadow on February 26, 2022. Now I realize, of course, I could have done this video in February, but I wanted to be more accurate into when it came in, which was around June 4th, June 5th. So let's see, and it basically entered pre-retrograde at 18 degrees of Aquarius. Now being that it's retrograding in Aquarius, it's going to be in the element of air, but also in a fixed placement. So being that it's in a fixed placement, it's going to affect all other fixed signs in the zodiac, which is basically Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. So it's going to be more challenging or more beneficial depending on how those signs are in regards to karmic implications, because Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma. So what it does is it deals with restriction. It acts like more of like a very stern father figure. It has masculine energy. So as its opposite, Cancer has feminine energy. So it's like the mother and father, if you will. And so it deals with, Saturn in general deals with, Earth, Capricorn. It rules Capricorn. So if you would look at how Saturn affects Capricorn and how Capricorns are, you would get a gist of what it is and what it does. An example of, like, Saturn and also Capricorn would be like they have issues with time. Time is always, they feel really restricted with time. You might know some Capricorns that are always fighting time, always trying to get things done. If you have, say, Capricorn moon like I do, you might find yourself being restricted on how emotional you are, being stronger than other people, not being able to cry, not being able to be as, compassionate sometimes, feeling really stern, things like that. Non-emotional, if you will. And it's not that we're not emotional, or it's not that Capricorn when is not emotional. It's just very stern. It's a very strong planet. Edgar Casey says when it comes to Saturn, when it comes to the afterlife, like our afterlife, we spend time in Saturn's etheric realms basically reforming ourselves, remaking ourselves. And so that's what Saturn does. It revamps everything. It changes you. It makes you, it holds a mirror up to you and makes you look at your lessons, and you cannot run from it. It's whatever it is, you have to go through it. So that's the karma. And so keep in mind too, karma is not, it's a neutral term. It means action. So basically you could say it's the Lord of action or the Lord of karma. So depending on how your actions have been will depend on how Saturn treats you during retrograde. So if your actions have been good, if you've been helping people, if you've been doing good things, then good things come to you. If you've been mischievous, if you've been nefarious, if you've been deceptive, then that's how it's going to hit you. So a lot of times people, because it's an earthly energy, Saturn, Capricorn itself, Saturn will affect your money flow. So depending on which house in astrology, astrology, we have, our will is much more powerful than astrology, you know. But astrology does give you a sense of what our limitations could be, or what our pluses and our bonuses, and the, you know, in a sense, it can point to where your greatest aspects are, but also your downfalls. It does really affect you, but you can overcome anything because we have, you know, the will of God running through us, or you could say free will, however you want to look at it. We are basically miniature gods, if you will. So let's see. So you got see, pre-retrograde. I'm looking at my notes here because I have a whole lot of them. So 18 degrees of Aquarius, February 26, 2022 at 8:04 p.m. Pacific time is basically when it went into pre-retrograde. So then Saturn goes retrograde, officially retrograde on June 4th, 2022 at 12:35 p.m. Pacific time and at 25 degrees of Aquarius. Saturn goes direct on October 22 or 22nd, 2022 at 5:42 p.m. Pacific time at 18 degrees of Aquarius. And Saturn exists post-retrograde shadow on January 23rd, 2023 at 2:01 p.m. Pacific time at 25 degrees. So the post-retrograde is after the official retrograde. And so it kind of hovers in there. And it's like I said, because of the orbit being so long, the planet itself really does stay in there a lot, you know. It stays pretty much in retrograde, if you will, and it doesn't, in a way, I guess you could say it doesn't really stay direct very long. And that's how all the outer planets in astrology, that's how they affect you. They are distant planets, so because their orbit is slower when it comes to around the sun, it has a lesser effect, but a more profound effect on you, if you will. All right, so Aquarius. Not Aquarius, but Aries is the first sign I'm going to start with. So Aries, it's going to be in your 11th house of friendships. So when it comes to, so this is basically where you make it makes you make a name for yourself in society, and basically the reception you get out there. It's the traditional house of friends, but also exists out to colleagues and social circles. This is the house of Aquarius and Uranus and Saturn. So because it's in the 11th house for you, which is ruled by Aquarius, then it will be like a double whammy when it comes to you. So let me give you an example, Aries, of what you would expect. So retrogrades appear to move backwards, you know, but what I have learned is retrogrades are almost like stepping into almost into a time machine, if you will. You'll have, for example, because it is going to be Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, you will notice more Capricorns and more Aquarians either returning to your life or exiting your life, or the karma, the action that you have basically established with them or created with them, whether it's, you know, just your friends in general, it could be past friends or whatever. That's who's going to come towards you, and that's who will basically be issuing this karma. Now, remember, karma is neutral. It's action. It means action. So it's sin. You know, in Sanskrit, it's action. So it can be neutral depending on how you did it. So, for example, Aries, you are a cardinal sign. So is Capricorn. So say that you have a Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Say that they come back and you cheated on them in the past. You know, say it could even be as much as a past life. Say that you cheated on them in this life, but, you know, 5 years ago. Well, they come back, you could rekindle it. Mercury could be kind of bringing them in as well, and you might actually rehash the good times that you had with each other, and it might end up being something like marriage, or you could just become friends again. It could be something that simple, or it could be a current Capricorn or an Aquarius. They come in and they leave your life. You could be, you know, you could have some type of issue with getting along or not believing in the same things. You might get irritated because they're a fixed sign and it's driving you crazy, and you want to move and you want to be free. It could manifest in so many different ways, but just keep in mind that's what it means. Whatever sign these planets are occurring in when it comes to the retrograde, a lot of times that's what you're going to see come back your way. Or it's going to be situations in regards to what those signs govern. An example, say that, you know, Saturn was, this time it was in Gemini. well then you would have restrictions, karma, time issues when it comes to communication. That could mean delayed speech. That could be delayed, because communication in regards to Mercury and Gemini, it rules. Mercury rules all of communication. This includes, say, like with your vehicle. This is why we have vehicle problems or electronical problems. An example of that was, you put your transmission in drive, and there is a delay in regards to that. Now, this time, with it being in Capricorn, say that, I'm not trying to confuse you, just, follow if you can. In regards to that, it could be, say, for example, Saturn, deals with time. So this time it could be more of a delay. Say you put it in drive or whatever, and it doesn't go in there, it gets stuck, or it's messed up, or another example, because it is in Aquarius, it's going to be in Aquarius this time. Say that you're working with computers. Aquarius rules technology, computers, like it deals with transgender issues. It's a very odd planet, if you will, and no disrespect to any Aquarius out there, but it basically would basically give you the energy of Saturn. Everything that Saturn governs, controls, rules in astrology, you're going to see that manifested in the sign of Aquarius. So you're going to be dealing with fixed signs, and you're going to be dealing with cardinal signs, and you're going to be dealing with air signs. You're going to be dealing with all these different issues. So if you really want to look deep into that, if I haven't actually went deep enough, I've probably bored some of you, but it's a very deep subject. If you try to understand this stuff and scratch the surface, then you're never really going to get to know it. So basically, just to sum it all up, it's going to deal with your friend sector. So colleagues, circles, friends, traditional house of friends, society. That's how it's going to manifest. So it can manifest in many different ways. And so what I will do, like as promised, I will pull a card for each sign as well. So, how will Saturn retrograde affect Aries at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aries at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aries at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aries at this time? Six of Air. Things are looking up. The end of a difficult situation. Taking a trip. So it could be basically taking trips with friends, or it could be clearing, any issues, like I said before, that you have with, say, a Capricorn and Aquarius, or anybody in regards to that, any air signs, fixed signs, Scorpio, just whatever. Just remember that you have all these in your chart. So if you want more of a profound understanding and reading, make sure that you look at, watch the whole video, or look at your main three signs or the other signs in your astrological chart to understand how this might affect you in different areas of your chart. So hopefully that was helpful for you, Aries. And I'm going to be moving on to Taurus. Thanks for watching. Okay, Taurus, this is going to be what to expect for Saturn retrograde for your sign. Alright, so Saturn retrograde is going to be affecting your 10th house. Your 10th house is basically the house of careers, the house of desire, the house of fame, where you want to be recognized, etc. It's also a masculine house, so you might want to check your actual birth chart to see what sign is in there, because it will actually tell you what you are good at, and it also will tell you in regards to what to expect in your career, and what you will be more passionate about, and what you will excel at. So with Saturn retrograde basically affecting the 10th house, and remember it's in Aquarius, so it's going to be fixed, and you're a fixed sign, so things that you have been used to for a while. I know a lot of Taurians don't like change because of the fixed quality. You might see a lot of things changing in your house at this time. You might actually see an example would be a lot of restrictions. It could be less customers. It could be more Capricorn and more Aquarian customers. You might notice that you're starting to Just say that you do, like, say that your career involves artistic work or taboo stuff, body piercings, anything like that. Just anything that could be weird. You might notice an onslaught of more original or more different people, creative, what some might call weird. I mean, not me personally, because I'm very taboo. This is what I do, so it's not. Anybody that's listening to this video, don't take it that way. You might notice more transgender people coming in, people that with different types of colored hair, blue hair, purple hair, more piercings. I mean, if you do any type of taboo stuff anyway, you're gonna see that. The reason that I say this is because I know Tauruses that are artists, and they see that anyway. But you might see more of that. You might see a restriction with that too, as far as like. Less money coming in, or you might notice that because it's it deals with the Capricorn and Aquarius, you might notice that there's time issues involved. Maybe say that you take on a certain job for certain people, and it's you quoted it at a certain time but couldn't finish it in that amount of time. If you've been good to people, if you've been good with them in regards to your house of careers, and fair and honest, and haven't tried to cheat them or anything like that, you will see an onslaught of more money, things like that coming in. 10th house is usually really, really good, especially like if you have Capricorn or something like that in regards to your 10th house. If you've done people good and you've helped people out and things like that, you're going to see a lot of good things come out of that. That's just the way that house works. But like I said, said in the previous video, I don't know if you watched the first part, but just remember, Saturn has to do with the Lord of Karma. So it is the Lord of Karma. So karma in Sanskrit means action. So basically, if your actions were just and generous and just, and whatever else you want to apply to that, then you're going to see that reflected back to you in this transit, or in this cycle rather. Also, trying to think of what else I could tell you. You might see an increase in fame, because you've been generous or good. You might have done some masterpieces, or you might just wherever you're working, whatever, however you've been, just know it all has to do with you. If you've been good, if you've helped people out, whatever, that's how it's going to affect you, and it's going to be in the 10th house of careers. And so I'm going to pull a card on that because I don't want to beat that to death in regards to an explanation of how that will affect you. So how will Saturn retrograde affect Taurus at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Taurus at this time? So 10 of fire. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance. Stress-related health concerns. So you need to think about that. If you're working too hard, if you're pushing, Saturn could be telling you to slow down. It could be trying to restrict your movement, restrict certain things. It can affect you in health. It just depends. But you also want to look at the rest of your signs. This is basically for sun signs, but you want to look at your other placements in your chart. What I'm doing is basically just for the sign in general. So it's basically for sun, moon, and rising, and any other placement you want to take a look at. But when I say that, what I'm saying is that you want to. It's best if you know your rising sign and your moon sign as well, and also your Venus sign, which is basically what you're ruled by, Taurus. All those things can help you because for example, this could be in your 10th house as far as the sun sign, but if you take a look, say that you have a Leo rising, it could be in another sector. And then it would make more sense on how this is going to affect you. So that's why I'm doing, one card for each sign. But anyway, Taurus, that's what I have for you. Please like, share, and subscribe if this resonated. Make sure you take it easy at this time. Listen to your body. And, if you've been pushing too hard or going against the grain, you might want to slow down and reverse that. And because, your health is a big concern, especially if it's, stress like this card is suggesting. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you back another time. If you want to book a personal or anything like that, I'm available anytime. And all that information is in the description box. So on to Gemini. Okay, Gemini. How will Saturn retrograde affect you? So Saturn is going to be transiting in retrograde your ninth house. So with the ninth house, this deals with foreign travel, philosophy, higher education. It's ruled by Sagittarius. So because it's ruled by Sagittarius, you might find yourself having conversations with Sagittarius on these subjects. Religion, the higher mind, high ideals. If you have planets in here, you might be the type of Gemini. If you have if you have a lot of natal planets in your ninth house, you might be the type that is very curious and inquisitive. This house might deal with, it's ruled by Jupiter, so it deals with expansion, and so a lot of expanded interest. It might be a time to where you slow down and take the time, because being that it's Saturn and retrograde and deals with karma and time, it might be restricting certain things in your life so you can study new things to bring in more income, more knowledge, more things in the future. And so everything that's normally moving for you in regards to time and money, finance, things that Saturn can deal with, it can stop all that and bring it to a halt in order for you to deal with, take a look at these other things in your life. And also because it's dealing with it's in Aquarius, it could be very taboo subjects, or it could be stuff that is it has to deal with the internet and newer things, newer technologies, things that you haven't heard of yet, or that stuff that you might be actually basically discovering or learning how to master, or things of that nature. So it could also be a time where you decide that you want to take a trip, and you might with it being with Saturn dealing with restriction, you might find that you're restricted in your everyday life and that you need to take a vacation, and along this vacation you might find yourself restricted or stuck or stopped, or these are it's neutral, but it can manifest in so many different ways. It also depends on how your karma has been. Karma in Sanskrit means action, so with it being action, action is neutral. It might be slowing everything down around you that's always moving forward, slowing it down so you can take action in other areas of your life, if you will. So, and again, it deals with Sagittarius energy, so you might actually start to feel your opposite energy. Sagittarius is your opposite, so you might feel that energy of freedom. Things that normally where you didn't feel restricted, you start to feel that way now. And it could be some of the same topics that you've studied for a lifetime can suddenly become restrictive, or feel very karmic in nature. So just take this time and kind of go with your intuition on this, and I'm going to pull one card in regards to how this is going to affect you. You basically already know what to expect, but I'll give you a little more insight. I'm a Gemini sun, by the way, so it's been very difficult for me, especially with Pluto in retrograde. I think Neptune is about to go into retrograde pretty soon, which I'll do a video on that as well. So how will the energy of Saturn retrograde affect Gemini at this time? How will the energy of Saturn retrograde affect Gemini at this time? What can Gemini expect? Queen of Air, independent, experienced, realistic, witty, objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, seeing the humor in the situation. So anything that's been kind of going on with you at this time, say outdated relationships. I recently had to end a relationship with someone that had Sagittarius in their chart, and so it'll allow you to see the humor in the situation. How a lot of, sometimes you look at things and you don't understand why you even connect to people, or what even brought you together in the first place. And so this card right here can be talking about that. This is pretty much good energy though when you think about it, because it's the Queen of Air. So you're going to be having more independent vibe to you, more experienced, realistic. You might take time, like I was saying before, and study a vast area of topics in religious or philosophical studies, things that are governed by governed by that energy of the ninth house. If you want to understand more about it, you could look more into the ninth house. But clearing away all that no longer serves you. So it could give you, at this time, it could give you, insight into what you need to clear away that isn't serving you. It could also be people from a distance that are no longer serving you. You're starting to realize that, it's over because they're distant, and before they even, distant in the physical sense, and even before they were distant in that way, you start to see that you were already distant on an emotional level. So whatever resonates with you. But whatever's going on at this time, just make sure you try to see the humor in the situation, because life can be very funny at times. It can be, it's all about how you look at it, and life is what you make it. And although your will is so much stronger than all these transits and these planets, they still do have a very commanding effect on you, if you will. Just depends how you look at it. Some people will say astrology is nothing and it's not true, but if you're the type of person who just scratches the surface and haven't had the ability to be able to look deep into something, then you'll never understand what it does, because you won't be aware of it. So anyway, Gemini, that's what I have for you for Saturn retrograde for basically June 2022. And thank you for watching. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if it resonated. I appreciate that. I appreciate you like, share, and subscribe. And I hope that everything goes well for you in the rest of June and the rest of the months. And I'll be back again with the other twin flame readings. Again, look at your other signs in your chart, and then go to the timestamps of this video, and it will give you more insight. All right. Thanks for watching. On to Cancer. Okay, Cancer, how is Saturn retrograde going to affect you at this time, and what to expect? All right, so Cancer, Saturn retrograde is going to be transiting in your 8th house. So this is the house of sex, death, rebirth, transformation. It is the actual house of death as well. And when I say death, I mean physical death, all forms of death. The 8th house is that way, endings and beginnings, light and dark, if you will. So when Saturn comes in with it deals with restriction. It deals with time, restriction, more like a father figure. So you could have, some of you Cancers could have fathers that are Capricorns, and you could be seeing something in regards to that. There could be a physical death. There could be different types of death, spiritual awakenings. This house also deals with taxes, inheritances. So for some of you that have, maybe possibly lost a dad or anything like that, or a father figure, or could be a masculine mother figure, you might have to deal with, taxes and on a business that your parents owned, or a house, or foreclosures. It can resonate in different levels, and there could be restrictions based on that. Now, I've said this in all the other signs, but I just want to make sure that I point out that Saturn is a planet of karma, or the Lord. It's also, planet of karma, Lord of karma. So karma in Sanskrit simply means action. So karma is neutral. What karma is basically what you create it to be. So if your actions have been nefarious, deceptive, selfish, then that's what you're going to see with this transit. If it's been benevolent, helpful, loving, then that's what you're going to see. And because it's in Aquarius, you might see weird stuff. You might be dealing with, say that you go to the tax office and you got to deal with taxes. Well, you might meet an Aquarius there, or somebody with multicolored hair or piercings, and you might be like, what have I walked into? It might just trip you out, because there might be a lot of weird things going on. There could be your father or something like it could have been an Aquarius, and or uncle, or anybody that has that father masculine mentality, or that energy. Could have been an Aquarius, and they could have been very weird or taboo. They could leave you a business that's very weird or taboo, or just something that's strange, but it's basically going to deal with all that. And so just apply it on however it resonates. And you want to look at all of your signs too. Look at your other placements, because I'm basically just speaking Cancer in regards to the Cancer sign. So it could be sun, moon, rising, etc., depending on how you want to look at it, how you want to apply that to your chart. For you of those that don't know a lot about astrology, basically your main three, so your rising sign and your moon sign, you want to look those up too, find out what those are, and then go down to the timestamps in this video, and then that will tell you a little bit more about your situation. But it could be an increase in sex, and it could be parts of yourself or your partner die. Like say that one of your partner was very fixed in his sexual desires, or you were. That might transform during this time, and you might actually develop more passion for each other. Stepping into taboo or weird things. Hell, you might, in a way, you both might dress up in multicolored wigs, or you might, put a disco ball, anything in your room. It could be just different, just strange. So strange to other people, not so much as strange to you. This might be something that you've always done. This could be something that you're looking forward to. I'm not. My intention is not to judge the situation. It's just to give you a description on the possibilities or the probabilities of what to expect at this time. So also I'm going to pull one card. I'm pulling one card for each sign to give you a little more descriptive energy or explanation on what you might expect during this time. So Universe Spirit, what can Cancer expect at this time in regards to Saturn retrograde and the effect on the 8th house? What can Cancer expect during Saturn retrograde at this time? Ten of Water. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met. Trustworthy relationships. So that's good. In Cancer, you're very much to deal with the 4th house. 4th house is what you rule in astrology, so that is, exactly the opposite of the 8th house. So you might notice a huge transformation, death and rebirth situation in your home and family. And so 10 of Water, that's good. It's like the 10 of Cups, so 10 of Emotions. So a very fulfilling emotional experience, so that's very good at this time. So not very bad at all, in regards to, I'm not saying it was bad, but you know what I mean. It seems like it's something to look forward to at this time. So that's basically what I have for you, Cancer. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Comment. If you liked the video, if it resonated, I appreciate the comments. I will read all of them just to kind of get experience and understand, what resonates and what doesn't. If you want to book a personal reading or anything like that, all of that information is in the description box. And I will be back later in the month to do other readings. I also have the other twin flame readings to finish. So in case you were looking forward to that, I'm basically doing one about every couple of days. That way it gives people time to view it and catch up. So anyway, thanks Cancer for watching, and I hope you have a safe and blessed rest of June. Okay, Leo, this is going to be basically your reading on Saturn retrograde and how it's going to affect you. Okay, Leo, so Saturn retrograde is going to be transiting your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, and the house of marriage. So at this time, with Saturn being the Lord of Karma, karma meaning action in Sanskrit, which means karma is neutral. Karma is basically what you create it to be. If you are, especially when it comes to relationships, if you're balanced and fair, then you might be attracting a balanced and fair partner. Perhaps it's a Libra or somebody with a Libra rising, Libra moon, something like that, that might actually, make you feel more fulfilled at this time. It's all about fairness and balance when it comes to that house, and it is directly opposite of your 1st house, which is the house of self. So make sure you look up your other signs, because whatever your rising sign is in astrology, your 7th house will be the direct opposite of that. So say that you have a Virgo rising in astrology, your 7th house will be Pisces. So your partner, you would probably be basically more drawn to a Pisces energy or something like that. Now, it's not for everybody, it just depends on what your rising is. So that's how you basically, it's like the house of your, basically the house of your symbolizes your cosmic +1 romantic partnerships, as well as other important relationships in your life. So for those of you that have a lot of planets or natal planets in the 7th house, and that just means planets in your actual natal chart, you may be very focused on relationships and gravitating towards partnerships in all areas of life. So you might have a very harmonious or a whole lot of lessons in regards to partnerships and relationships. So and I'm also going to pull. So that's basically what you can expect with that. Now, being that it's going to be in Aquarius, it could be some weird things you get into. It could be, say that you get married. You may not get married in a traditional sense. It may be very taboo, different, because it's the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So it's going to basically be governed under Aquarius energy. So you're going to have Saturn and you're going to have Aquarius energy in there. And Aquarians are also known as the aliens of the zodiac. So it could be a very non-traditional, very independent type of relationship. You might be attracting independent partners at this time, but also balanced and fair, which would be good for you, Leo, because you are independent on your own. And so for you to attract more of an Aquarius, which is your direct opposite, it actually might be more beneficial, because you could feel, you could get the freedom you need, as well as the Aquarius could have the freedom they need. So I'm going to pull one card for you to give you a little more insight in regards to what to expect for the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So Leo, what can Leo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 7th house? What can Leo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 7th house? Let me reshuffle these just to... What can Leo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde at this time in the 7th house? What can Leo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 7th house? What can Leo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 7th house? Two of Water, a relationship that continues to grow closer, forgiveness, the positive resolution of a conflict. So that's good, and that deals with partnerships. So it's two, and so that's basically what that 7th house symbolizes, is your +1. So if you had any questions or any in regards to that, or worries or fears or anything, just know that this is seems like this is going to be a beneficial time for you, Leo. So I'm sure for the ones of you that are giving and things like that, this is a blessing for you at this time. So Leo, that's pretty much what I have for you for June 2022 in regards to the effect of Saturn retrograde in your 7th house. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Let me know what you think, if it resonates. If you're looking for a personal reading, you can look in the description box of this video for that. And I'm going to be finishing the Twin Flame videos. Basically, I do one about every couple of days. That way people can catch up. Everybody has time to see it. And hope you have a blessed and great rest of your, rest of June. Thanks for watching. Okay, Virgo, this is going to be your reading, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other placement you want to add it to for Saturn retrograde, June 2022. And if you want to know how long this transit lasts, just look at the first part of the video. So this is going to be appearing in your 6th house, which is, the Virgo is basically the ruler of the 6th house. So this is going to be, it basically has everything to do, it corresponds with health, wellness, and daily routine, including odd jobs where the body you're born with exists in the 1st house. The choices made over a lifetime create the body found in your 6th house. So being that Saturn retrograde is basically the Lord of Karma, which simply means action in Sanskrit. So basically karma in itself is neutral. You hear a lot of people talk about karma, and get them. Karma is nothing more than a mirror. It's basically bringing you back what you sent out. Basically what you reap what you sow. So if you've been good, if you've, in a way it can be seen kind of like Santa Claus. If you've been good, you get presents. If not, you get coal in your stocking. But being that it's in the 6th house, if, an example would be how this is going to affect you would be, but Saturn being in there, it's going to be restrictive, and it's going to slow things down. So it might actually slow things down to the point of you having to focus on, having to focus on something in regards to a job or something that is affecting you stress-wise. It could be affecting you in that way, and then this could be causing health problems. Your job itself could be causing health problems. So it might, you want to look at your other placements, of course, your rising and moon, to get more information. But wellness routine, that might change. It might be restricted. You might find yourself, feeling stuck at this time. An example of wellness, something could, you could come down. It could be a stress-related illness, something like that you could come down with, and so then it might, keep you from doing your regular routine or working, or you might have to get another job. It can just manifest in so many different ways. But it's really good wisdom, because the house, the body that you're born in, your actions, actions have consequences. So that's basically what karma is: action and consequence. Action. So if you've been good and you've taken care of yourself and you've been good to others and you've treated your body well, then you're going to do well at this time. And sometimes, like I said, it'll just it'll basically stop everything around you, because time. It deals with like father time, like it's all those sayings come from Saturn, Lord of Karma. So Saturn is also the planet of remake. So like Edgar Casey talks about Saturn being the planet in the etheric realm, like an afterlife realm, where we basically go to be remade, because it deals with the physical self. So we're remade, remolded, reshaped, and so with it being in your 6th house, you might actually start to do that at this time. So I'm going to pull one card for you in regards to what else you can expect for Saturn in the 6th. What can Virgo expect at this time in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 6th house? What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 6th house? What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 6th house? What can Virgo expect? What can Virgo expect in regards to 6th house for Saturn in the 6th house? What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn in the 6th house? What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn in the 6th house? Y'all's energy is stagnated. What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn in the 6th house? Y'all need to clear your energy, because these cards are stuck together. What can Virgo expect in regards to Saturn in the 6th house? Finally. Knight of Air, intelligent, decisive, idealistic, tirelessness. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options and creative solutions. So, at this time, I think you still need to clear your energy, but at this time, if you clear your energy, I feel like this is the message for you in regards to what's coming towards you. So this could give you, with this card, this could give you, everything's happening faster, so instead of it restricting time, it might allow more time for you to get other things done. And so it's basically saying make sure that you carefully review your options in regards to creative options. So if you have creative options and choices, or you're feeling very creative at this time, you want to take the time and restrict yourself, or just slow down a bit to review it and make better decisions, especially if it comes if it has to do with your house of routine and your health and your daily routines and your jobs and everything like this, because it could be creative jobs, it could be things you're making with your hands, and you want to take your time and perfect them. Or sometimes perfection is a fool's way of doing things, because you spend so much energy trying to perfect things, but you might actually come to that awareness at this time by slowing down and just taking your time to do it, if that makes sense. So basically, Virgo, that's basically what I have for you for June 2022. And also remember, it's going to be the Saturn retrograde is going to be in Aquarius. So you might find that you're creating jobs or doing things or getting hired by people that are, out there, or in regards to being like, beyond taboo, or people with different types of colored hair. It could be learning new skills and sets in regards to technology and computers, because that's what Aquarius rules, and it could be more insights, profound knowledge, different things, just to best understand, more how that's going to affect you. You want to make sure you look up again your sun, moon, and rising. Look at all those signs. Click on the timestamps of this video, and also take a look at what each sign governs. Like being that it's Saturn, look at Saturn and what it governs, and then also look at Aquarius and what it governs, or Uranus and look what that governs, and then you will have a more understanding of how this will impact you. So thanks for watching, Virgo. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Let me know what you think, if it resonated. And I'll be back to finish the other twin flame readings for the rest of June. And so I hope you have a happy and blessed rest of your June. Thanks for watching. Okay, Libra, this is how Saturn retrograde is going to affect you. So basically, Saturn retrograde, it's going to be retrograding in your 5th house, which is ruled by Leo. And again, the retrograde Saturn is going to be retrograding in Aquarius, so that's the opposite of Leo. So you might find yourself being more creative at this time. It's a creative house that has to do with, like, it can have to do with your kids, your childlike, like your inner child. Just basically, it can deal with, any type of creative project that you wanted to do. Leo energy, freedom. It can deal with relationships, but not like the 7th house, which is partnerships and marriage. This can be like, just a house of just sexual, non-detached relationships, or just flings, or something not very serious. And so with Saturn retrograding in there, it can bring back a lot of Capricorns, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. It can also bring back, you're an air sign, so is an Aquarius. So you might notice some Aquarians that you might start talking to. You might hook up with an Aquarian and actually do some type of creative project, or with a Capricorn. You might notice that you have more time. You might have been granted more time now to work on your creative projects, more time to play with your kids or do creative things with your kids. Saturn can come in and restrict like jobs or slow down jobs. That way you would have more time to, with your kids, or to be childlike, or to have fun like a kid, or, just anything like that, anything that has to do with your inner child. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to pull a card for that. Now, also though, I want to state that, and I said this with the rest of the signs, Saturn is the lord of karma. So in Sanskrit, karma means action. So karma is neither good nor bad, it's neutral. It's basically a reaction to your actions. So whatever you put out into the universe, whatever you've reaped is, or whatever you've sowed is what you will reap. And so if it's been good things, if it's, let's see, I'm trying to think. If it's been good actions to help people, things like that, then it'll come back to assist you. If not, it'll come back in reverse, and it'll come back to teach you a lesson. So just keep that in mind. You always get what you put out there. All right, so what does Libra need to know in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 5th house? What can they expect? What can Libra expect with Saturn retrograde in the 5th house? What can Libra expect with Saturn retrograde in the 5th house? 6 of air. Things are looking up, the end of a difficult situation, taking a trip. So you might have more time to take trips with your children, or something in regards to that. It might give you more time to just, anything that's been, we just pretty much are moving out of Mercury retrograde. So if you've had issues with that, if that's been messing with you, it's basically saying that everything's going to start moving better for you. So it also depends if you were born, during Saturn retrograde. Sometimes if you're born during the retrograde cycle, you have the opposite effect. So just keep that in mind. There's not a whole lot when it comes to that, when it comes to this card. 6, it deals with the physical world, so you can do, this has a unicorn with a boat on it and a lot of gold, so it can just be a lot of spiritual energy, a lot of creative energy around you. And you might be actually taking a trip with your kids that ends up being more creative in nature. It might be to go, you might be taking trips to go to, art fairs or festivals or something in regards to that. So, Libra, that's pretty much what I have for you for June 22 in regards June 2022 in regards to Saturn retrograde in your 5th house. I hope this reading was helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you also look at your other placements, your moon and rising, at least. That way you'll have more insight, and I'm going to have all these time stamped, so you'll be able to go through and see, in what other areas this may affect you. And also look at, any other placements as well in regards to creativity or, stuff like that. So, just want to say, I hope you have a great rest of June, and I'll be back later to do more readings. I also have to finish up the twin flame readings. I haven't done Libra yet. So yeah, I just did Libra, so check that out if you're interested. And on to the next sign. Hey Scorpio, I'm doing your reading for Saturn retrograde, and this time around it's going to be in your 4th house. So Saturn is basically, Saturn is basically known as the Lord of Karma, and karma basically is a neutral term. It basically means action. So it's neither good or bad. So whenever you hear things like, karma is going to get them, or karma, basic karma is just an action to a reaction. So it's whatever you've sent out, whatever you've sown is what comes back to you. So if you've been a good, good person, blah, 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 and you've done the best to your ability and tried to help people out, then that's how it's going to, appear to you. Now, when it comes, with it being in the 4th house, the 4th house is, represents the house, the home, and the family, and it's ruled by Cancer, which is basically the zodiac mother. It represents all aspects of domestic life, including your family, where you live. The house also symbolizes your ancestry, maternal or caregiving figures in your life and tradition. So you might have, being that you're a water sign, you might have more Capricorns and stuff like that in your family, or earth signs with that placement. And so being that it's retrograde basically just means that it's kind of, in a lot of ways they always talk about it appearing backwards, but I've yet to see very many people refer to it as like a time machine, because what it does is it brings back people from the past. So with it being the 4th house, you might see things like, get-togethers, family get-togethers, people you haven't seen in many years. With Saturn being the Lord of Karma and time, and with restrictions, you might see a lot of restrictions in regards to your family. You might see, it actually being implemented more time so that you can actually spend with your family or connect with relatives and people that you haven't in a long time. Now, it could also be, being that it has to do with the mother, it might be people from your mother's side. So think about that. You might have a mother that, that you get to spend more time with your mother. And it could represent, it has to do with, because it is Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, you could be seeing more Aquarian type people or Aquarian energy in regards to the 4th house. So, just kind of, like Aquarians, Uranus energy. You might, for example, some of your kids may be getting new electronic devices, and you might be helping them out with that, or have more time to help them out, or they might be teaching you something about it. And you might be having memories of your mother at this time, or the feeling of your mother being present, whether spiritual or just around you, helping you out, assisting you in unseen ways, if that makes sense. So just, a big emphasis on home and family and restrictions. So like I said, if you put good seeds out there when it comes to your family, you're probably going to, get good things back. You have more time to spend with your family. And basically what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull one card to kind of assist you with understanding how this will affect your 4th house with Saturn retrograde, or how Saturn retrograde will affect the 4th house. So what does Scorpio need to know in regards to Saturn retrograde transiting their 4th house? What does Scorpio need to know in regards to how Saturn retrograde will affect them at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Scorpio at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Scorpio at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Scorpio at this time? Let's That's too many cards, Spirit. How will Saturn retrograde affect Scorpio at this time? The moon. So it's interesting because the moon in Cancer, so Cancer, or the moon rules Cancer, so that's the card to come out. So important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So all that really does apply to you. And so you just think about what the moon represents for you. It's water, it's emotional, it's nurturing energy. So you might be feeling this at this time from your family, your home and family, or just the emotional, nurturing, feminine, motherly support. Some of you I know that have lost your mothers, this might be actually beneficial at this time because you might actually need that to help you heal. So hopefully this was helpful, Scorpio, and make sure that you check your other placements, sun, moon, rising, this is for whatever sign you want to put it in regards to the placements, but that's pretty much what I have for you for June 2022, and if you have any questions, just let me know. If you're looking for a personal reading or anything like that in regards to more information on the Saturn retrograde, just let me know. And I hope you have a, also, well, the information is in the description box of this video, will be in this description box. So if you want a personal reading or more information, thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of June. Okay, Sagittarius, going to do your reading for how Saturn retrograde will affect you. You probably need to watch the first part of the video to understand when it came in, how long it's going to last. So basically it's going to be appearing in your third house of communications, the astrological house, also the house of siblings. So at this time you might have a desire to be more communicative, fix your communication, be a better communicator. And being that it is with Saturn, you might find yourself communicating with more Capricorns, or people that have that in their chart. So very like an earthly, more earthly, So an example, say you have friends, something like that with a Capricorn moon, or you have somebody with a Capricorn sun. Also, you want to check your other placements in the chart too, in your birth chart as well. Sun, moon, rising, any other placement that you want to add Saturn retrograde to, because it's going to be affecting all of that. Even though the third house is what is mainly emphasized. So this also has to do with writing, editing, speaking, thinking, conducting research. So you might find yourself conducting research on different topics, things that you're interested into. Primarily probably stuff that would be governed by Saturn. It could be time, it could be trying to think, earthly existence, just maybe more of a physical sense, just topics of a physical sense. And what I will do is I will be pulling one card for you to help explain in a greater detail of what you might expect during this transit. Also, if you want to know more about how it might affect you, just look up Saturn retrograde in the third house, or just third house, kind of do your own research there. This might be part of the research that you're doing in the third house. So it might, maybe this intrigues you a bit. You decide, well, I'm going to look this up to see if I can get any more information. Alright, so what does Sagittarius need to know in regards to how Saturn retrograde will affect the third house? What does Sagittarius need to know in regards to how Saturn retrograde will affect the third house? What does Sagittarius need to know in regards to how Saturn retrograde will affect the third house? The Sun. So happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success. Have confidence in yourself. So at this time, Saturn retrograde could be doing that. I mean, your ideas, all that. The third house is ruled by Mercury, which is basically Gemini. You could also say it is. You could also say it is the Gemini house as well. And Mercury rules Gemini, so the communication sector. So you might be getting wonderful ideas at this time, which as stated. But with this card saying the Sun, so basically what I get from that is that this house will be illuminated at this time. You will shine in this area or this sector of your astrological birth chart. So happy outcome, bright new ideas that lead to success, and happy confidence in yourself. So that's all good. I mean, it's good. You know, a lot of times in retrograde, like it'll, you know, any type of retrograde can slow things down, and it appears to spin backwards. But in reality, what it's doing is like stepping into a time machine. So it can also help you revisit certain things. An example of why it's like a time machine is like, you know, when we have Mercury retrograde, which we're in the last part of that, a lot of times you might notice that you're revisiting the past, not just people coming back from the past, but you're revisiting things that grew up that make you nostalgic. And a lot of times readers will pull the Six of Cups, which is the card of nostalgia in tarot. So it's a card of the past basically, but nostalgia has a big meaning with it. And so, you know, ways in which the past can be seen, you know, with Mercury and or Saturn. Like with Mercury, it could be, you know, words and old songs, and then Saturn can deal with whatever Saturn represents, which is earthly desires, that of Capricorn nature. Anything that if you know Capricorns or know anything about them, you can look up also what they govern. Actually, do it right now and see if I can tell you some more. One second. Also, you might want to look out on the parts of the body that it rules. So it's a cardinal sign ruler Saturn. So, you know, limitation, in areas of where you might be limited in the third house, restrictions, you might see that freeing up. You know, at this time you might see certain, if you will, like writer's blocks or things like that that's removed. So any type of practical matters, ambitious, social responsibility, time, you might feel like that stuff is being freed up around you where you have actual more time in regards to work on these things. You know, it could, an example would be, say that you was wanting to write a book and now you just got this inspiration, or something has happened within your job sector, or something in your life has freed up more time. So therefore you can, now you have time to go back and say write that book or do research for that. So that's basically how it would affect you. Like I said, you could always look up more of that stuff, more on Saturn and on Capricorn to find out how that would affect you, and then you can just take the knowledge that you get from your research in regards to that and place that into the third house of, you know, siblings and communication, intellect, things like that. But anyway, Sagittarius, that's what I have for you. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if it resonated. I really appreciate that. And if you want to book a personal reading with me on various different readings, past life, life purpose, astrological readings, charts, I do all kinds of things. My information is in the description box below the video. So I hope you have a great rest of June, and I'll see you next time I do a reading. Thanks. How's it going, Capricorn? Going to be doing your reading for Saturn retrogrades. Just to note, Saturn is your ruler. A lot of Capricorns are not aware of that. Also, Capricorn, when it comes to astrology, if you are the type of Capricorn that basically just refers to one sign, say just the sun sign, and you judge people just based on that sign, such as Gemini or whatever, and you think that all of them are the same, trust me, they're not. We have entire birth charts that explains our characteristics and what make us whole. You know, and I'm only saying that because I know a specific Capricorn that was always talked about Geminis, and they one thing they always said was Geminis was cheaters. Well, I can guarantee you whatever Gemini that she was dating wasn't me, and it wasn't a lot of the you know Geminis out there. So yes, some of them are. The ones that I've seen that actually do that usually have birthdays in May, early May, things like that, and there can be some later on, but usually with the second decan, from usually the 1st all the way up to the 10th, and maybe a little bit later, are usually very loyal. So it just depends. And some people might disagree with that, but that's just the way it is. So just know that there's a depth to things in life, and Capricorns, you can be very earthly, about the material world, money, things like that. And so there's much below there's much more than just the surface level of things. Especially when you're dealing with sciences in the astrological fashion, or anything, numerology or anything. If you're just looking at, if you look up, say, an angel number that you get, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and you look that up and you read 4 lines in a paragraph, I can tell you right now that you're not going deep enough. And for the most part, you're not really supposed to always go deep, because depending on if you have a lot of Gemini or something like that in your chart, Capricorns will, you're supposed to enjoy the surface level stuff. But I have a Capricorn moon, so I'm not dissing Capricorns. So with Saturn in retrograde, it's going to bring you, it's either going to release restrictions or cause restrictions in regards to your money sector. So you might get more money, you might find yourself having less restriction, more time to do things, more organization. My dad was a Capricorn sun, so I used to watch him get up at 3 a.m. to go to work, and time just was not on his side, and that's how Saturn, being your ruler, that's how it affects everyone. It's very slow, and so even though he would get up, several hours ahead to get everything done, he was still very slow to get it done, very restricted, always trying to fight time. It was like one of his greatest adversaries. So, me personally, I've seen a lot of Capricorns that are like that, and me being the Gemini sun with the Cap moon, the way that Saturn affects me in regards to that is that, like, for me, if I'm trying to move on emotionally from certain relationships or situations, it takes me forever and a day. And the reason that Saturn is so governed by time and it takes so long to get things done is because the orbit of Saturn takes many years to go around the sun. As when Mercury goes into like retrograde or whatever, Mercury spins very, very fast around it. If you look up Greek mythology, you'll see that Mercury and everything associated with Mercury was very, very fast. That's why Geminis are lightning fast thinkers. They have a lot of expansion when it comes to how much they can hold in information, but they can also get bored very quick and things of that nature. So your money sector. So the ways that can manifest, like I was saying, it could just be, say that you have worked on whatever and you have these projects that you haven't had time. Well, Saturn can move in and slow everything down for you that's restricting you from working on that. So therefore, say you got a job and you're dealing with layoffs or something like that. These are just examples. These are not predictions, just examples on how it might manifest. And so then it gives you time to, work on a hobby that you've been wanting to do, or say, work on a physical project around the home that you want to do, or that you promised your wife, or, etc., vice versa, So just know that if you've been limited recently in the financial sector, with it being in retrograde, and you might want to watch the first part of the video to see when that comes in and when it goes retrograde and all that. I didn't want to put all that in every video because this is an all signs video. So just if you want to know more about that, just look how you can look up and do information or research information in regards to what to expect with Saturn retrograde. These are very very simple information. Just wanted to put something out there for my viewers and my subscribers. Because I can go all day on Saturn and what it can do. Also, if you are interested in Saturn and Kronos and Greek mythology, check out the show Outer Banks. It's on Amazon, and it talks about Kronos and time. And on that video, or on that show rather, it talks about like a big hole in the ground that's a portal for Kronos, and all that is related to Saturn and time. And so it's pretty interesting, especially being that it has the Greek history behind it. But yeah, just you might find yourself having more time to do things this time, or Saturn has to do with karma. So in regards to that, you might be paying back karma, which karma means action. So it's neutral. In Sanskrit, it means action. So karma is really neutral. It's not good or bad. It's basically a reflection of what you've already put out. So just like the old saying goes, you reap what you sow. So whatever seeds that you have sown, if they've been good, if they've been to help other people out, things like that, then you will see good results come through, and it can appear in any area. So make sure you look up your other placement, sun, moon. You can apply this for however, but moon rising, north node, wherever you feel like intuitively feel that you want to know information, will be very helpful. So I'm also going to pull a card just to give you a little interpretation of what you might expect for Saturn retrograde. So how will Capricorns be affected by Saturn retrograde? Two of water, a relationship that continues to grow closer, forgiveness, the positive resolution of conflict. So, and perhaps that's good. Perhaps that it'll give you more time for this to occur and happen. And so maybe, you working on something for someone, or, however, like I said, it would manifest. Maybe this gives you time to spend with other people, and and maybe you can make money with that in the same extent. So that's pretty much what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope that was informative. Please like, share, and subscribe if it resonated. If you want to book a personal reading, all that is in the description box below this video. And I hope you have a great rest of your June. Thanks for watching. Today, Aquarius is going to do your reading for how Saturn retrograde will affect you. So Saturn retrograde is Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So it deals with time, restrictions, karma. Karma being meaning action in Sanskrit. So basically, karma is neither good or bad. It's basically just an action. It's a reflection or an action to a reaction. So an example, just like the old saying goes, I say this is pretty much all the videos, but in regards to this topic. But basically, what you reap what you sow. So if you're sowing good things and you're helping people out and you're doing things like that and you're working with a collective and co-creating, then you will see that mirrored back to you and manifested, and good things will come back to you. Now, me personally, I don't know what I've done during this cycle, but I have a Capricorn moon. So the way it affected me yesterday, or actually in 3 days, my water, and also this has to do with Mercury retrograde, because we're nearing the end of the post shadow, which is supposed to end on the 18th, which it might go on a little bit longer, but that's when it'll be officially direct and not what the other astrologers have said, because you have pre-shadow and you also have full retrograde, and then you have post shadow, because everything has an ending and a beginning to it. So it's nothing just ends like that. Everything's a process. So my trap on my toilet busted. It had so much pressure due, and also with the Sagittarius full moon, it's almost like it wanted to be free. So Sagittarius being a sign of freedom and expansion, it just exploded. So I had to have that fixed. And then I also had was involved in an auto accident yesterday. So somebody hit me, and that's probably karma for, it's either karma in regards to restriction and, dealing with time, and maybe, something I hit somebody before, so it had to happen to me the same way. But also I had kidney stones that I didn't know about, and so the wreck kind of jarred them loose. And the reason I'm talking about this is because Saturn, anybody that is governed by Saturn, if you have a Capricorn moon, you can have a whole lot more kidney stones, because Saturn is a restriction on everything. It's like taking something and tying a rope around it and just letting a little seep through. So it could be time, it could be everything. It basically reminds you that you're mortal and that everything catches up with you. And regardless if it's, depending on how you view it, good or bad or just neutral. But the accident, in a way, had to happen because it jarred me around. And so because I have a Capricorn moon myself, I always was stronger and I was restricted on my emotions. So I could never really cry that much. It took me to develop empathy in my later years to actually be able to do that. But because of that, kidney stones are known as solidified tears or solid tears. So they're basically tears that you don't let out, and they form, hard crystal-like, from mineralization. So with the end of Mercury retrograde and the accident, and then causing that, and then the hit, it was able to jar my physical body loose, which is, Capricorn kind of rules different aspects of that, and rules the physical world, vehicles, things like that. So then it jarred it loose, and then I was able to pass that stone, which is, it's wild how those things had to happen. But I've seen stranger things than that happen in regards to in succession of threes. Now, they always say things happen in threes, and it was funny because the actual cop's name was my middle name, and the kid that was driving was pretty young. He actually, one of the first things he said was, they say everything, all accidents happen close to home, and I've always said that. So there was mirrors in many different angles and degrees in regards to the officer, the kid, his mother knew some of my family. So it's just wild how it all happens, and it all had to do with basically water. So with a full moon in Sagittarius and the moon actually controlling water, you can see how that raises the tides, as a magnetic pull in water. So you can see how that all that interjects and coexists within each other. So with Capricorn, and I want to tell that story, but I'm gonna get on with your thing. So if you need to fast forward a little bit, that'll be fine. So the first house for you, Aquarius and Capricorn, being retrograde, and that deals with the house of self. So if you've had restrictions in your physical body, now this could be anything. This could be energetic blocks. This could be blood clots. It could be anything physical. It could be like you were laid up for a certain amount of time, and now you're feeling like limber, or you're feeling like you can move around, or you've had a serious illness, and now it's healing. You might feel less restricted in this time, or depending on how you've treated others and been, you might have some stuff happen to you in a way like I did. Now mine actually was more in regards to benefit of health and allow me to help someone else, because I was able to help the kid that was in the accident because I wasn't upset, and he was tore up, and I remember as a kid being that way, so I had empathy for the kid. So it could restrict like that. And then your first house, again, this is how people see you. So if people have seen you a certain way, they might start seeing you different because of Capricorn in retrograde. And you also might be attracting, actual suitors, like Capricorn suitors, things of that nature. So take whatever resonates, but it might give you more. It might free up more time for you because Saturn rules time, and it might free up more time in regards to physical workout routine. So you might have more time to work out now, take care of your body, as opposed to before when you didn't. It could manifest in many different ways. But I'm also going to pull one card for you. And if you want to know more how that might want to affect you, just look up the first house and all that it governs, and also look up Saturn retrograde so that you would know more about that. I'm not going to sit there and spend a whole lot of time on these readings because it's a collective reading, and it's for each sign. But it's I don't want it to be so long that no one even watches it. So, and I will be time stamping it. But really, a lot of people, especially people that get bored easily, only watch the minute from 3 to 6 minutes, something like that. So, no sense of doing 20-minute reads for each sign when no one really. Everybody has a TikTok attention span. All right, so what can Aquarius expect? What can Aquarius expect for their first house in regards to Saturn retrograde? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aquarius' first house at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aquarius' first house at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aquarius' first house at this time? How will Saturn retrograde affect Aquarius' first house at this time? Queen of Air, independent, experienced, realistic, and witty. Objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, seeing the humor in the situation. So you might find yourself doing that at this time. You might be clearing certain things away that, certain ideas and things that you thought about yourself, people that viewed you a certain way. You might be removing, the mask, or showing people who you really are. When it comes to restriction, now it can restrict you where you have less time. If you are the type that is, always in the gym and things like that, you might find this period actually slowing you down where you can't do that. So there could be some restrictions in regards to that. So just keep an open mind when it comes to that. But that's pretty much what I have for you at this time, Aquarius. So I hope that was beneficial. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you check all your placements, an example, rising and moon. It'll give you more insight in regards to how this might affect you. And like I said, everything will be time stamped, so you will be able to go through the description box and see the timestamps. What I do like about the timestamps in regards to when you put it in the description box opposed to the comments, it allows you to, it shows up as chapters on the video, so it'll allow you to go down to the bottom and you can just click chapters, and then it'll take you directly to your read. So anyway, thanks Aquarius, and if you're looking for a personal reading or anything like that, all the information is in the description box. Appreciate everything, and thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of June. Okay, Pisces, going to do your Saturn Retrograde reading. So Saturn Retrograde is going to be appearing this time in your ruling house, Pisces, which is the 12th house. So this is known and has been known and has been said to be the garbage dump of the zodiac, and that is because it is your subconscious. So all the things that that normally might be restricted by Saturn in your subconscious or your 12th house, you might find less restriction. You might find you have more time to discover that, to tap into things, i.e. meditation, things like that. Anything that might heal the 12th house, and you might find yourself taking more responsibility or learning lessons that before was difficult for you to learn, because Saturn will basically backspin. So it will be lessons from the past, stuff that you should have learned or should have paid attention to and didn't. Being that it is Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma, whatever you've done, and this could even be past life stuff that comes up, to other people. People might be coming into your life to balance that karmic scale out. So if for me, many Pisces that I see have a very hard time making the right choices, and they continuously make, not all of them, but some of you make, depending on your other charts and everything, can make very very choices that's based on dreams and not reality sometimes. And sometimes it can be the opposite. So with this retrograding in your 12th house, those things that has restricted you for a long time, your dreams, things like that, you might actually have more time. Or, you might have good karma coming from the things that you've done good, things that you've helped people. The thing about Pisces is, and you basically have, because you are ruled by the 12th house, or you rule the 12th house rather, you have a little bit of everything in you, all of creation. And with that being said, you can owe a whole lot. You can switch signs. You're known as the chameleon of the zodiac, so you can switch signs. You can be pretty much anything. You have the ability to be anything. You are water. You are reflection. You are the creek flowing in the stream, basically mirroring back the reflection to everybody else. The point I'm trying to make, think of a deer that stops by a creek bed or a creek side to get a drink. You will be the water that reflects the reflection back to the deer. So you can become anything and be anything and have the ability to do that if you have what it takes. Now, the thing about Pisces is you're represented by the fish. So some of you can be considered lazy, but it's not so much as that, is you move when the water moves. Wishy-washy, yes. There's a saying that says, you cannot beat a river into submission, and that's very true for Pisces as well, because you can't force them to do whatever. They're going to be whatever they are in regards to the emotional states or the collective emotional states. And so for me, Pisces have let me down a lot in my life. So and yeah, I do understand that, but I have a whole lot more control over my life, and I'm not governed in the sense of water. Now, my opposite of my moon, which is Capricorn, would be Cancer. So there is a lot of water in there, and I have Scorpio in my 6th house of work, career, and everything, which allows me to do this reading because Scorpio is a water sign, and it's very intuitive and psychic, and so it allows me to do this work and look deeper into things. Somebody messaged you at the wrong time. All right, so also with the 12th house, you might have more dreams, more profound dreams. Your dreams might be telling you something in regards to the karmic debt that you owe. If you haven't done your duty or lived up to your responsibilities, then basically this can be distinctively uncontrollable period where your feelings of guilt or inadequacy rise to the surface. So there's always positive with Saturn, even if sometimes you have to look hard for it. But just know that we are in duality, so it's positive and negative to everything that happens. Mercury retrograde comes in, people say, "Oh my God, I can't stand it." They're like, I can't wait for this to be over. But none of them, depending on which sign they are, I see the duality in it. I see both positive and negative, or more of a neutral state. It is what it is. But if you look around, there's always pluses and positives. But just like with Saturn, being a lord of karma, you reap what you sow. So whatever you're putting out there, whether you're wishy-washy or you're the wild river that flows with the white rapids, you should still know, especially collectively, what the right choice is. And I can see the confusion. I know what it's like to be confused where you can't make a decision. And it can be aggravating, but when you can't, something you have to realize, Pisces, is that everything you do is a decision. Every choice you make is the decision. If you choose not to do something, that is a decision to not do it. If you choose not to enter into a relationship, that's a choice. If you choose to put somebody on hold because you're not ready, that's a choice. So you have to understand that there is consequences to every choice that you make. And waiting on things, or just anything, just if it's dark, if you're deceiving people, I understand that because you have so many different personalities, or have the ability to be that chameleon. You can change so much, and Geminis, we change mentally like that. But I've found through meditation that helps it. But a lot of places that I know, I've tried to offer meditation to them, and they just won't do it. They don't put in the work. And I understand emotionally it's how you feel, but if you want to control over those emotions that you deal with, throughout your life, you need to find some way to ground yourself. Sometimes Pisces do that with an earth sign, like a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. But at the same time, sometimes you might find those placements in a person's moon sign, and they will ground you. But it's much better if you can learn to ground yourself through meditation and through, just basically envisioning a, long route or whatever, going down into the earth and grounding you and taking your actual time and doing that. But recently, I was helping a Pisces out, and I recorded the meditation, put a lot of work into it. And I just wanted them to be able to experience what it was like to actually be grounded, and to show them a way to clear their energy. They lasted 3 days. And to me that's disappointing, because I'm the type it's all or nothing. So I understand your emotional states and how they change, but if somebody gives you the gifts and tools, regardless of, if you're not into it in that moment, or emotionally you change, it's not always going to be like that if you just make a decision right then and there to say, hey, this helped me. I've experienced that this is helpful. So no matter how I feel, I need to go ahead and get it over with. And, I had to let go 3 Pisces recently. And it was just time for the karmic cycle to end. But the one Pisces was saying something to me about compassion. And I have compassion. I have compassion for a lot of things in life and for people that I've known. But if I see the same actions and situations in all, everyone that I've known that's had this sign, including my mother, if I see these things, that's going to trigger me. And something Pisces needs to realize is that not everybody has compassion for the whole collective. Like me, I'm meant to be a warrior and a teacher and help people get to their greatest version. So if you truly need compassion and you truly want help and things like that, then I would be the type to help you. But if I see you slacking, if I see you just being lazy or not wanting to do whatever it is just because it ain't enough for you in that moment, or it wasn't emotionally fulfilling, or and then you come, if you're the type of person to ask questions and you come back and you ask me another question after you've already asked it 500 times and you never take the advice, then I'm going to have to cut you loose, because I understand the whole confusion and instability, but I don't understand the fact that you're asking me questions and ideas and never actually taking that advice. That's something that I will not tolerate, because that's energy vampirism. That's wasting people's energy and time. So it may not be the best thing for you to attach to someone when you're not going to do the work. If you're just looking for fulfillment in that moment, then it's probably not going to be beneficial for you. And some people, we're not rude either. It's something else I wanted to talk about too. A lot of Pisces have told me I'm rude. Telling people how it is and how you feel is not rude. That's just being assertive. That's someone that understands how they feel. So I can understand how it would come off as rude or whatever else. But sometimes people have to hold you accountable for your actions, because if they don't, then you never will. And that's the lessons I think a lot of people need to learn, especially emotionally immature people. Not saying all Pisces are that way, because I've certainly met some that are not. Another example would be, if you send somebody a message and you want to have like an energy session or something done, make sure that when you send a message and you ask for information, that you're wanting to do it then. An example of what happened during this past cycle was I had somebody send me a message that was a Pisces, and I'm not being hard on Pisces. I'm just giving y'all examples of how you could possibly alter yourselves in a more beneficial way. That way you can put good karma out there, and you're not having things that can cause problems later on. But anyway, so she sent me a message for a thing, and I'm a busy person. So say they seen a video of mine and didn't watch it all though. Didn't watch the whole video, but had questions. Okay, and I said, well, let me send you an article that you can read, and this will explain your questions, and if you have any questions after that, I'd be happy to answer them. They didn't want to read it. And what I was feeling is that, and this is more of a negative side of Pisces, they want to attach to me, get my attention, my energy, and just, it's more of the emotional control, and I don't like that. I'm like, let's do this, we're going to do it. And not so much as rushing people, but, I'm not going to see it like that, so I ended up getting rid of that too, because, there were several inconsistent, wishy-washy situations or behaviors that raised red flags within me. And that's why the one Pisces said I wasn't compassionate, because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Well, if you tell me something's going on behind the scenes, why you can't do something, then I can understand. But I'm not going to read your mind. I'm not going to read your emotions. I have psychic abilities, but I don't always tap into people, just for the simple fact that there's no reason to do that. Why tap into somebody that potentially could be an energy vampire or have messy emotions when I don't have to? Now, if you want to tell me something, but I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting chaos and drama. I was getting someone that was ungrounded, was all over the place, was basically in and out, and I don't tolerate that. My time is valuable. So those are things that you can think about doing when you take on new things. Don't waste people's time. There's things, everybody, every zodiac sign, they go through things, people go through things, and it's not always just about one person or one thing. You know, I have my reasons for being who I am. The ones that I was dealing with have their reasons as well. But wasting people's time just because you're wishy-washy or taking people for granted or whatever, it's not okay on anybody's, in anybody's book. But anyway, enough about that, Pisces. Again, like I said, I'm not talking about all Pisces. I'm just talking about certain people that have that sign in their chart. I mean, my dad, he had a Pisces moon. He had issues too. The biggest issue I have with y'all is the deception and, the emotional manipulation. And I think I'm rightful for having that, because emotional manipulation might be able to give you power in the moment, but if you don't take responsibility for your actions, then you're not gonna have power, especially when someone learns how to read that, So just think on what I said, and don't take it as I'm speaking to every Pisces. This is just the ones that I've experienced. You have certainly great traits too. You're able to make beautiful works of art. You are very dreamy. You can really make people go into their emotions and make them feel some type of way. But I've just had negative experiences. So anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull a card to see how basically how Saturn will affect you, or what to expect with Saturn retrograde in your 12th house. So how will Saturn retrograde affect Pisces collective in their 12th house at this time? What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? There's too many cards. What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? Man, y'all's energy is cluttered up right now because these cards are all over the place. What can Pisces expect in regards to Saturn retrograde in the 12th house? Okay, so I've got the Three of Water for you. A celebration, a wedding, graduation, or birth announcement that the need to have more fun. So you might find yourself at this time with Saturn in retrograde, it might be less restrictive. So the inner child might awaken through the 12th house, and you might start to, tap into that energy and have more fun. Now this could be with your kids. This could be just at these functions. You could be getting married. There could be a lot of things going on. But, having fun is definitely a good thing. You want to do that, especially if you have more time to do it and you're feeling less restricted, Sometimes Saturn can do that. It can give you more time and basically slow everything else around you that has been preoccupying you to the point that now you can do what you need to do, And so that's good. It's a good message for that card. I hope I didn't talk you to death with my stuff. If I did, just kind of fast forward through it. But a lot of those messages, will be good and beneficial for some of you. Just, and the ones that know negative Pisces and know those actions, or have actually been able to take responsibility for themselves, you won't judge me on that, because you will be like, yeah, I know we can do that. So I would say this to you, for the ones out there that really believe in compassion, understand that I deserve compassion too for what I've experienced. So it's not so much as judging you, just making pointers on how you could rectify certain situations or stop potential issues in the future. That that way, if you don't do certain things, then you won't have karma next time Saturn retrograde goes in the next year. So, but anyway, thanks for watching, Pisces. If you want a personal reading on any topics, past lives, life purpose, health, career, astrological reports and numerology reports, just let me know. All that information is in the description box. I basically have an Etsy site, so you can click on that. I don't have everything on there, but you can message me for something that you're interested in, or potentially interested in. But like I said, don't message me unless you are serious, because if you come in and just, if you want to ask me a price or something like that, that's fine. I don't mind, or if you are inquisitive. But if you come in, with a wishy-washy attitude and you're not definitely not certain that you're going to do it, don't waste my time. Because, time is energy. Time is our life force. Energy is our life force, and that's what we got. So we can be using it for much more beneficial things. But anyway, I hope you have a great rest of June. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later this month with the next set of readings. Thanks for watching.